This video includes a paid promotion. What's up, guys? I'm BTC, and welcome back to the Respawn, where I answer your questions. Let's get started. Does Overwatch need a minimap? Lots of games have them: CSGO, Valorant, Dota, League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and more. Would it work in Overwatch? I think there actually is a good reason to have them, but it's probably not what you're thinking. In a game like CSGO, there are going to be multiple points that you have to either attack or defend. Point A, point B. And you need to have that minimap to show where the teammates and where the enemies are, because everybody kind of spreads out. But in Overwatch, everybody on both teams is always going to be focused on one location, whether it's a capture point or a payload or whatever. Everybody goes to the same spot, so it's not like you really need to track everything that's going on all over the place. However, there is another aspect of the minimap that I think could be very beneficial to Overwatch players, and that's callouts. Usually on a minimap, you'll also have the name of whatever the location is where you're at. So, for example, in CSGO, you might have A site, B site, CT spawn, you might have pop dog, tree, B tunnels, whatever it is. And it tells you where you are in that current map, which gives you much better callouts than what we have in Overwatch, which usually boils down to on the left or top right. So I don't think having the little radar blips on the minimap is necessary, but having the callout locations would definitely be good. Gotta take a brief moment for today's sponsor.
After a long day of gaming, you need rest. And now you can get it with X-Sheets, the only LED-powered bed sheets made for gamers. Enjoy.
Hello? Yeah, I'm just working on the video right now. Why, what's up? No kidding. The entire inventory? Gone? Do they know what happened? A goose? Wow, that guy really gets around. Alright, well, I'm kind of in a bind here then. I mean, who can I possibly get to sponsor the video on such short notice? The real sponsor of today's video is Raid Shadow Legends. This is the mobile game that you've seen everywhere, heard a ton about, but have you actually tried it? If not, now's your chance. The daily rewards program has been doubled. Every day you can claim free rewards like energy refills, silver gem shards, and a legendary champion. Raid reminds me of the old school RPGs I grew up with, except with much better graphics. There are some great rewards being offered for new players. By using the link down below, you can get 100,000 silver, 10 mystery shards, 2 clan boss keys, and a free champion, the Adjudicator. All of your treasure and rewards will be sent to your in-game inbox, found right here. But the rewards are only available for the next 30 days, so don't wait. Click the link down below and grab them today. Moving on to the next question, do you think they should add the Gladiator mech fighting arena that's mentioned from Junkertown? I think this actually has a possibility of being a map at some point in the future. I think the most likely possibility would be a control map, because with the mech fighting area, you could have kind of like the big area in the center. Maybe there's some kind of debris or some other things that kind of add to the map, and then you would have the arena stands that go all the way around it, and you're going to want to have something that's kind of symmetrical. You don't want to have it where one side is a little more lopsided than the other, but I do think that you could do that for a control map, maybe a 2 capture point map, but I know a lot of people don't generally like that. But I think certainly, yeah, I think the mech area could work as a map, definitely. Will there ever be percentage healing? As a main or primary heal, I don't think that's likely going to happen. You could have an ability that does that, or maybe even an ultimate that does that, but you have to be careful with it, because remember, healing 20% on Tracer is way less than healing 20% on a Winston that's currently using his ultimate. And if you're talking about building ultimate charge on that healer, you have to be careful about that sort of stuff, because then you could use it on Roadhog or Reinhardt or something, and you're going to build your ultimate really, really fast with that percentage healing. And we're not talking about something that's like 50 or 60%. Even something that's, you know, around 30% is still a lot of healing on those characters. But I think it could happen, but it would be a little tricky to balance something like that. Are you working on a Paris rework? I've been giving it some consideration. It does take quite a bit of effort, but I think I got plenty of time, because Blizzard is probably going to take a couple months before they release any new update to the map that gets put on the PTR. And I don't think that they're going to do a massive rework to the map. It's probably going to be a bunch of minor changes. So I do have quite a bit of time in order to work on it, and I've already talked about some of the things that I would change in one of my previous recent videos. maybe if I have time, I mean, I've got so much stuff going on right now, but if I do have time to do a Paris rework video and actually create like a 3D model using the CSGO Hammer editor, then yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not really sure when it would happen. What about a support hero that modifies friendly and enemy damage output through attack speed? This is something that I have considered quite a bit in my own hero concepts. By the way, I'm still working on them. I will be releasing some very soon, but I'm not really sure if this is something that Blizzard wants to add to the game. Usually when they talk about damage, it's just in the form of resistance or a damage boost or something like that. When you're talking about changing attack speeds, you then get into animation changes. And I'm not exactly sure how Blizzard is handling their animations, but having an ability that can drastically increase or decrease animation time for an attack might cause some problems. Like, it might require them to make a lot of extra animation stuff in order to get that to look good, because it's not really just as simple as, oh, we'll speed it up or we'll slow it down. That might not look fluid enough, and it may look kind of weird when it's actually used in-game. So that sort of stuff, again, without knowing how Blizzard is handling their animation, it's a little iffy. Like, it would certainly be something that would be cool, and it could work, definitely. It's more about how much of a cost is it for animation changes. And speaking of My Hero concepts, will you rework Ares? I think I will, actually, because the character was specifically made at a time when Goats Comp was the thing, and Ares was made to be a counter to Goats Comp. Most of my other hero concepts would still work in the 222, maybe some minor changes here or there, but Ares probably wouldn't work, and I think I could make that character designed a little bit better anyways. So yeah, I would like to rework Ares into something. I probably end up changing quite a bit. I mean, he'll still look the same for the most part, but I think I would definitely change some of his abilities. Do you think we'll receive full backstories for established minor characters such as Sojourn? For the minor characters, no, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of story on them. I mean, let's be honest, we don't get a whole lot of story to begin with. But for Sojourn, she's actually a major character and is going to be a very big part of Overwatch 2. The Overwatch 2 game is going to be broken into different campaigns, and one of those campaigns is going to focus solely on Sojourn, who she is, where she came from, all that sort of stuff. And it's supposed to be like the centerpiece of one of the campaigns. So we're definitely going to get a lot more about that character, but as far as the other ones, yeah, probably not. What's your opinion on anti-CC abilities? Would it work for tanks, or does it have to be support only? We actually already have an anti-crowd control ability on one of the tanks. It's Orissa's Fortify. I think what you're asking, though, is can you have an ability that buffs a teammate? And would that have to be limited to supports? I don't think so. I think you could also have tanks that have that sort of functionality. For a DPS, I think it should be limited to a self-only buff, something like an Ice Block or Wraith Form or Fade or one of those things, right? Where you can make yourself CC immune, but it's only for you if it's a DPS player. But for tanks and supports, certainly I think you could have something that will buff a teammate or maybe even buff a small area that makes them CC immune. But you can't just have that as the only part of the ability. Just like with Orissa's Fortify, there needs to be something else, because having the CC immunity only is not going to be good enough, and you would need to have other things. There's a lot of characters in the game that don't have any sort of crowd control at all. Soldier 76, Genji, Tracer. D.Va has like a minor CC with the boop from the boosters and stuff, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have any CC, and you can't have an ability that just wouldn't be useful in big chunks of time throughout the match, or against entire characters where it just wouldn't be useful at all. So you would have to add something else. But can you have a buff that you put on a teammate or have in an area? Yeah, I definitely think you could, and I think it's probably a good idea. Some of my hero concepts actually have this sort of team buffing CC immunity on them. So yeah, they could definitely add more of this to the game. Will you make videos for Valorant after full release? If so, will it be on a new channel or will you stick to this one? Well, I definitely don't have any plans on making yet another channel. I already have this one, plus my other one where I talk about movies and TV shows and that sort of stuff. I really don't want to make a third channel. So if I was going to make any Valorant content, it would be on this channel, but I'm not really sure whether or not I'm going to make a lot of videos on Valorant. It kind of depends on how popular the game is, how well received the videos are here. I'm not fully decided on that yet, so maybe not, but if I do make them, they would definitely be on this channel. And that is going to be all the questions for this week. Thank you to everyone who submitted one, and remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault.